Hello, I'm Azortharion, and this will be a guide on how to get the Slime Serpent Plaguefall Heroic mount as a BM Hunter. So starting out with setup, I basically played a sort of defensive single target setup for BM for the most part. So I played Aspect of the Beast. That is because it increases the damage done by a pet's basic attacks, which means it's going to heal itself more. One thing I should note is this is the setup I ran for the last boss, Margrave Stradama. But for Domina Venomblade, I ran Killer Instinct instead, because Animal Companion splits your pet's healing onto 2 units. So with Killer Instinct, you're going to have a lot more pet self-healing, but a bit less damage. So I recommend Killer Instinct for Domina Venomblade. And you can even do the same on the last boss, but the last boss has a bit more of a DPS check to it. So I ran Animal Companion for it. Also, just to make it a bit more interesting, I ran this at 199 item level with no legendary for BM. So to get that, I basically just unequip my chest and legs, high budget items, and then just equip my Serpent Stalker's Trickery legendary shoulders. Best trinket for both should generally be, so on first boss, the third boss, Domina Venomblade, I'd run something like Inscrutable Quantum Device, because it's a rather short fight, less than 2 minutes. If you have more gear than me, which you probably do, then it will be even shorter, so you're better off running something that has a huge amount of upfront burst. Whereas on Margrave Stradama, you should probably run something like Front or Anima Battery, because the opener doesn't really matter that much in that fight. You're really looking for like just kind of damage throughout the fight, and especially towards the end. You can also save a Quantum Device for that, I suppose. But I think Anima Battery is going to give you a bit more flexibility in that regard. What else? I mean, Sinful Revelation, single target enchant. And that's it. So for the pet, I ran the Scale Hide, but you should be running a Clefthoof, because Clefthoofs receive more healing. I ran the Scale Hide mostly because I'm lazy, but it also made it a little bit harder to do than with a Cleftoof, because pet survivability is the main problem on the first boss. So yeah, this is what I recommend. Now I'm just going to go into the actual skip in the beginning. Now, mine is not very elegant. There's a ton of mistakes and everything, but I'm just going to run you through it, and I'm going to tell you sort of, if I had any major problems with anything, so I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. This part you can do without Invis Pot or Camo, you basically just run through. This guy you don't really worry so much about, you just run past him and you can feign him later. So I run all the way over here to feign, but you can actually keep running and basically do the whole skip in like 2 feigns. But I feign here, because I'm a scared boy. Then I camo, and then I run along this side wall here to the far left, so you don't pull the Plague Rock. Now you have a bit of a problem here, is you cannot get across this little, this water here without breaking your camo. So in my case, I think I just wait, or maybe I give it a try and I screw up my, you see I try, and camo breaks because I take a little bit of a tick of damage. Maybe if you were like really sweaty, you could summon a Cunning Pet for the extra movement speed, and then you could make the jump and not break camo, but yeah. And then I accidentally pull this, so you can see it's already going amazingly wrong, but it just shows how you can recover. Just disengage, and I turtle to, well, maybe I don't even turtle. Nah, I get away with not turtling here, I just barely survive by the skin of my teeth. Alright, so down here, basically as you'll see, you basically just trap this tentacle over here, and then you can just run over here, wait for these guys to explode themselves, and then you'll see that I do the next trash mob by just letting him blow himself up. You'll see shortly. Okay, I basically pre-trap that. Then I pull the Plague Borers here, which is actually a minor mistake, but you can see I just kind of wait for them to blow themselves up, and then it's not that big of a problem. I get some strong dots on me, but I survived no problem. I eat some food to just top myself. And I just wait for those guys to explode themselves as well. They'll do so on this platform very shortly. And now, since you're actually getting in combat, I just activate my flask, all that stuff, so you don't, my consumables. Then I just head in here, and basically you're just trying to like do some damage and let it blow up the canisters a bit earlier than I did. And just survive until it all blows up on its own. So I pop down a binding here and I just run away, kind of screw it up a bit. Ends up being a bit of a tricky situation, but you get the idea. And this is eventually going to blow itself up, and now you're free. This part you can just run straight through, no big deal. Just make sure to keep jumping here to not build too many stacks of the debuff, but even if you don't, it's totally fine. Down here, you just want to kill this guy, like just, I'm MM here, but like, you know, same thing. 20k HP is basically nothing, you just get rid of it. Now what you do next is you basically just run along the side here and you won't be pulling anything. Just jump through the lava and try not to die. And so down here, I'll have a separate video for that. You also want to kill this ambusher right here. So it's helpful to like burst it down, since you might want to look back on this video before you do the next boss. I recommend just popping CDs on it. If you use turtle to get here, then you might have a problem if you don't have a lot of DPS. I'll show you why that is. So the problem here is I just wait for turtle to come off. That's why there was a bit of a break here. But he's basically gonna cast those ambushes or like spiderlings, and they're gonna jump you at the end of their cast. And if you don't have turtle, you're basically gonna die from that. But I just kill him before he actually spawns them. So, but yeah, that's what you want to do. If he spawns the small spiders, pop down a flare on where they spawn so you can see their cast. And then at the end of their cast, you just turtle, wait for them to jump to you, and then you just you know, kill them off normally. Alright, and for this thing, you can actually just run straight through and not have to worry about camo or anything special. But I just camo for safety. But yeah. Now you're at the boss. So this is the when it actually gets difficult. Alright, so now I'm spec BM. Once again, 199 eye level, no legendary. Running a scale height pet instead of a Clefthoof, which is a mistake. Just gonna do a standard opener. One thing I do here that you should not copy is I'm clicking Mend Pet because I use it so rarely. I didn't have a bind set up for it. I do set up a bind for the second boss. I highly recommend you bind Mend Pet because you're gonna be spamming it all the time, and if you're not used to hitting it, then you're gonna miss casts, and pet survivability, at least with this gear level and this pet, is a bit of a problem on this fight. But yeah, obviously I recommend saving Lust for this, and you just kind of go in, do your standard opener, do a lot of damage, kind of screw up the opener in my case. Now you can see I'm clicking the Mend Pet. So there's two dangers on this fight. The main one, for me at least, was my pet just dying, and the boss then going for me. And even if I can turtle and rest the pet, my pet would struggle to regain aggro. And also, you'll need Feign. You can't just Feign the boss's aggro off, because you'll need Feign for another mechanic, which I'm gonna show you. Okay, and also these ambushes, they're not really that scary. Like, your own survivability is not really the problem here. You can, I'd recommend saving a turtle for if it gets really nasty. I wouldn't do what I think I do here and turtle this one. I don't actually turtle it. Okay. Now, the main thing you want to see here is, so soon, the boss is going to do Brute Assassins, and this is going to spawn those, you're probably familiar with the mechanic, all these assassins out in the room. So what I've read around is like most people do is they wait for those projectiles they cast to like get close to you, or for you to be able to see them, and then you feign. What I found to be more efficient was just wait for her cast to go off of Brute Assassins, and then just pop Feign and remain feigned after like 1 or 2 seconds. So Brute Assassins go through, wait a second, feign for a second, stand up and continue, and then you shouldn't have to worry about any assassins whatsoever. Some people have reported that they have Brute Assassins spawning really close to the boss. Assuming that Wild Spirits is away at that point, you can just trap them, or you can just swap your pet to them and kill them. It's not really that big of a deal. They have 13k HP, your pet is gonna like free shot them. You can see here, like, after the cast goes off, I wait a second or two, and then I just feign to make, and you can see, now I'm just safe. Like, I won't have to worry about any mechanics out there. Keep up that Mend Pet. Here's another Shadow Ambush. I just kind of ignore it, just make sure to keep that Mend Pet rolling. And honestly, you're just kind of trucking along at this point. I mean, even with this level of gear, obviously you can see my pet is getting a bit sketch. But that's partly my fault because I'm not keeping 100% uptime on Mend Pet. Like, it's really important that you hit it off CD. But I still narrowly manage. So, acceleration you want to save for, like, when your pet is getting really close to dying. Because it's going to heal your pet to full. And so, like, if your pet is at 50% health and you use it, then that's way less efficient healing than if you wait for your pet to reach like 10% HP or when you really need it, halfway through the fight or something like that. But yeah, then it's pretty standard. I'm just gonna like see if there's anything else I can mention about it as we go through. Obviously try and do a better rotation than I did in terms of keeping up Frenzy. Especially when it comes to, like, you want to make sure that you refresh Frenzy shortly before you get stunned. And also if you can try and sneak in Mend Pet refreshes right before you get stunned, that's a really good idea. Now you might kill it faster than this. So with my level, I'm doing like less than 4k DPS. And you might actually kill it well before this point. I actually just about managed to get my CDs back up, but I don't bother using them because at that point, like, you can see the boss is basically dead. Didn't even need to use my health pot. I only needed to use the exile for my pet. Yeah, that's it. So moving on to the trash for the third boss. Let's see if I can find the actual trash for that. No, this is a failed Margrave attempt. I think it's just this. Yeah, okay. So these you just kill. Pretty standard stuff. Okay, so here, like, I recommend using Wild Spirits here in the middle. You just target and kick Echo Bowlflesh. And you just pump them down. As soon as all this stuff is dead, which is gonna happen very quickly, you just swap it all. When he does the ghost step, you just swap it over to the left pack. You can see right there. Keep Mend Pet, because these actually kind of truck the pet, so I recommend putting up Mend Pet a bit sooner than I did. You can see here, the pet is almost dying. But yeah, pretty straightforward. Otherwise, keep the kicks rolling on Echo wherever he goes. I recommend a focus kick. You should be using that anyway. Pet dies here, but like, you can just outrange and rest, and like, it's really no big deal. Just make sure you don't get trucked either. Kill this guy that's close, and just wrap it all up. And that's the trash. Much easier than anything else, really. Alright, and here's Margrave. This is much simpler. Like, even with this level of gear and this pet and everything, I was able to kill it just by keeping up Mend Pet and not completely destroying the mechanics. So I saved Lust for the final phase. Because I saw someone else do it. Maybe second phase is better. I don't know really, because I believe you get your CDs back for the last phase. So maybe it's better to do it in the second phase, but it's up to you really. Here in the beginning, so it's kind of ideal if you can manage to only get one Malignant spawn growth in the first phase. So you can see here the ad spawns, but I'm actually just trucking the boss and relying on Wild Spirits to finish it off. You should be soaking the tank soaks. They don't really do that much damage, even with this level of like health, basically nothing. As my Wild Spirit expires, I'll swap to the Malignant spawn because I want to finish it off. You kind of want to be utilizing Beast Cleave when hitting the ad so that you're also getting some boss damage value, because you can see it's really borderline on actually making the push before that ad spawns. At least with this level of gear. Now you're just dancing. Keep a Mend Pet rolling, because actually, cool thing about Mend Pet, Leech, the stat, which you get a lot of from your Ferocity pet, makes it so that when you heal something else with Mend Pet, you also heal yourself. So yeah, that's useful. Obviously, just do the dodging here. Stay close to the center so that it's very easy to run where the stuff is just gone. Keep Mend Pet rolling. Then just start up the fight again. This is the same except with no CDs. This time when the Malignant spawns, I just start hitting it immediately, and I put up Beast Cleave shortly, at least if I know what I'm doing. I think I will for the second one. You get the idea. Infectious Rain, we don't really worry that much about it. Keep the Mend Pet rolling, that's literally all you have to do. Another spawn, just swap to it immediately. This time I put up Beast Cleave. You can see this is the timer for it right below my focus, just to get a little bit of boss damage in. Now I use my first exile because I was getting kind of scared of my pet's health and my own health. That turns out to be a fine decision because there's not really any more danger for the whole rest of the fight. Because for the last phase, obviously, we'll have our CDs back and we'll lust. So this middle phase dragging on, it's a bit sketchy. This is why I recommend, I think you should probably use lust for this phase instead. Just keep the Malignant grows down. Keep the Beast Cleaving up because it's more DPS from your pet, which means more healing to itself. And here at around 33%, the boss is gonna face. And now it's basically over, because for the last 33%, I'll have my CDs, and I'll have a Lust. Boss comes back, just pop your pot, your Lust, your CDs, everything. And yeah, you're just doing the fight. I think I even ignored the ads here. No, they don't actually spawn, just do the dodging, like, and just finish the boss off, and you're good. I forgot how to actually make it back to Domina's area. So what I did stupidly here was, like, I left the instance and then had to do the trash run to get back. But don't worry, I collected another video on how to collect the worm. For me, it was pretty simple. You just trap this guy, or just kill him. I mean, however you want to do it. But I trap the guy, and I try and see if I can grab the slime serpent before this guy hits me, but I can't. So he hits me, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just kill you then. And I summon my stuff, and I defeat him very quickly. So this is, if you recognize the area, it's Domina's area just to the right. Like, you can't miss it once you get here. I'll just finish it off, and click it, and grab your pet. And congrats. I hope this was helpful. Be sure to subscribe if you want any more videos like this. Also have a Patreon if you want hunter coaching. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.